Biomed, Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR Ipsen agreed to acquire Cartos Therapeutics for $450 million upfront and up to 1.75B total, picking up a phase 3 blood cancer drug designed to improve on Jakafi treatment in myelofibrosis, according to Fierce Biotech and Biospace. Zymeworks agreed to acquire Theravance Biopharma in a deal worth close to 1B, adding a lung disease drug plus royalty streams, according to Biospace and the Pharma letter. Theravance shares dipped 2.7% to $17.15. The FDA set a surprise advisory committee meeting for Capricor's Doramyocel in Duchenne cardiomyopathy, a drug it rejected last July. CEO Linda Marbán told Biospace the agency had not flagged any concerns with the resubmitted application. The August 27 PDUFA date is now in question. The FDA approved Viridian's Lumvoa veligrotug for thyroid eye disease on Friday, sending shares up more than 10%. Viridian now competes directly with Amgen's Tepezza. The Medicare GLP-1 bridge program launches tomorrow, July 1st. Executive takeaway. The M&A wave is no longer just a big pharma story. Monday brought 2 more deals, but neither came from the usual mega-cap buyers. Ipsen, the French mid-cap, paid $450 million upfront, up to 175B with milestones, for Cartos and its phase 3 MDM2 inhibitor, navtemadlin, a drug designed to work alongside or improve on Jakafi in myelofibrosis. Zymeworks, a Canadian biotech better known as a licensor than an acquirer, spent close to $1 billion to buy Theravance Biopharma for a lung disease drug and a set of royalty streams. 2 deals, 2 buyers that don't show up on the usual who's hunting lists, both on the same Monday. That breadth tells you something. When mid-caps and biotechs start acquiring alongside the Lillys and AbbVies, the deal-making is structural, not cyclical. The patent cliff that H.C. Wainwright pegs at 236B to 300B through 2030, with nearly 70 blockbusters losing protection, is forcing the entire industry to restock, not just the top tier. Then there's Capricor, which is a useful reality check. Yesterday we wrote that FDA attitudes appear to be shifting in companies' favor, pointing to Replimune, Unicore, and Regenex BIO. Today the agency set a surprise advisory committee meeting for Capricor's Doramyocel, a Duchenne cardiomyopathy therapy it rejected last July. CEO Linda Marbán said the FDA had not raised any concerns with the resubmission, which makes the AdCom a genuine surprise. The lesson? The FDA reset we described is real but uneven. The same agency can ease up on one rare disease filing and add scrutiny to another in the same week. Predictability is still the thing the industry is missing. Read full analysis. Top story: 2 deals, 2 unexpected buyers. Ipsen Zymeworks will acquire Cartos Therapeutics for $450 million upfront, with the total rising to as much as 175B if milestones are met, according to Fierce Biotech and Biospace. The prize is a phase 3 drug for myelofibrosis designed to improve outcomes for patients on ruxolitinib, Jakafi, the standard of care. Biospace framed it as Ipsen making multiple shots around a core franchise, not one binary replacement bet, which is the portfolio logic large and mid-cap pharma both want right now. Separately, Zymeworks agreed to acquire Theravance Biopharma for close to 1B, gaining a lung disease drug and a portfolio of royalty streams, according to Biospace and the Pharma letter. Theravance shares dipped 2.7% to $17.15 in pre-market trading. For Zymeworks, a company historically known for its antibody engineering platform and licensing deals, buying a commercial stage asset and royalty income is a notable shift toward becoming a more diversified revenue-generating company. The common thread: neither buyer is a top 10 pharma. The M&A boom that defined the first half of 2026, more than 134B across 33 deals over 1 BDIS, is now pulling in acquirers across the size spectrum. Regulatory FDA set surprise AdCom for Capricor's Duchenne therapy. CAPA, the FDA will hold an advisory committee meeting to discuss Capricor Therapeutics' Deramiocel for Duchenne muscular dystrophy cardiomyopathy, a drug the agency rejected last July, according to Biospace. CEO Linda Marban said the news surprised her because the FDA had not communicated any concerns about the resubmitted application. Deramiocel is a cell therapy targeting the cardiac complications that are a leading cause of death in Duchenne patients. The August 22nd PDUFA date we have tracked in our Catalyst calendar is now uncertain, since an AdCom typically signals the agency wants outside input before deciding. This is the counterweight to the Replimune, Unicor, and Regnex BIO acceptances we covered yesterday. The FDA reset is real, but it is not uniform. Approvals: Viridian's Lumvoa, approved for thyroid eye disease, VRDN. The FDA approved Viridian Therapeutics' Lumvoa, veligrotug, for thyroid eye disease on Friday, sending shares up more than 10% to $19.81 in after-hours trading, according to the Pharma letter. Lumvoa is an anti-IGF-1R antibody that competes directly with Amgen's Tepezza, which has dominated the TED market since its 2020 launch. Viridian's drug offers a shorter infusion course, which could be a meaningful convenience advantage. This is the second TED approval to watch alongside Viridian's subcutaneous candidate, and it positions the company to challenge Amgen in a market that has had only one approved targeted therapy. EU clears Enhertu as tumor agnostic, HER2 treatment, AZN, DSNK1. The European Commission approved AstraZeneca and Daiichi Sankyo's Enhertu as a monotherapy for adults with HER2-positive IHC3+ solid tumors who have exhausted other options, according to the Pharma letter. This is a tumor-agnostic approval, meaning Enhertu can be used across cancer types based on a biomarker rather than tumor location. It extends the ADC's reach in Europe and reinforces the franchise driving toward Daiichi Sankyo's 14.6B oncology revenue target. Coming up tomorrow, July 1st, Medicare GLP-1 bridge program launches. Foundayo Zepbound oral and injectable Wegovy, $50 copay. July 31st, Section 232 pharma tariffs effective for large companies. August 2026, Replimune RP1 FDA response. August 22, Capricor Deramiocel PDUFA, now with AdCom pending. Imminent, Revolution Medicines, CNPV filing, Lilly Foundayo, T2D filing. Read, full analysis, Biomed, Nexus, Pro, Institutional Intelligence. Brief, when mid-caps start buying, the first half of 2026 was defined by mega deals from the largest pharma companies, AbbVie, Archer Apogee, 10.9B, GSK, Nuvalent, 10.6B, Merck, KGaA, Biotechne, 11.3B, and Lilly's 14 deal spree. Monday's transactions are different in kind. Ipsen is a French mid-cap with a focused oncology and rare disease portfolio. Zymeworks is a Canadian biotech that, until now, was better known for out-licensing its technology than for acquiring other companies. When buyers across the size spectrum are active simultaneously, it usually means the underlying driver is structural rather than opportunistic. That driver is the patent cliff. H.C. Wainwright estimates the industry faces 236B to 300B in revenue exposure between 2025 and 2030, with nearly 70 blockbusters losing market protection. Every company with a franchise to defend, large or small, is looking for assets to fill the gap. For Ipsen specifically, the Kartos asset fits a shots around a core franchise strategy. Rather than betting everything on one replacement blockbuster, mid-caps are assembling multiple mid-sized assets around their existing strengths. That lowers binary risk and is easier to finance than a single mega acquisition. The FDA is easing up, except When it isn't, yesterday's Replimune acceptance, alongside the Unicor and Reganex BIO reversals, painted a picture of an FDA growing more flexible under acting leadership. The Capricor AdCom complicates that picture. Doramycel was rejected in July 2025. Capricor resubmitted. The company says the FDA gave no indication of concerns. Then the agency scheduled an advisory committee meeting, which is generally a signal that reviewers want external validation before making a call on a borderline application. The takeaway for industry. The absence of a permanent commissioner means there is no single consistent regulatory philosophy driving decisions. Some reviewers are taking a more permissive stance on rare disease evidence. Others are adding procedural steps. The same company can get a friendly signal on Monday and a cautious one on Tuesday. Until permanent leadership is in place, expect this unevenness to continue and build AdCom risk into every rare disease filing timeline. Viridian versus Amgen in thyroid eye. Disease Amgen's Tepezza has owned the thyroid eye disease market since 2020. It was the first approved targeted therapy for TED and generated significant revenue, though it requires 8 infusions over roughly 5 months. Viridian's Lumvoa offers a shorter course, which matters in a disease where patients are managing active, often disfiguring symptoms and want faster resolution. The competitive dynamic now mirrors what we see across therapeutic areas, a dominant first mover facing a next-generation challenger that competes on convenience as much as efficacy. If Lumvoa's shorter infusion schedule holds up in real-world use, it could capture share the way better-dosed biologics have in eczema, zumilokibart versus Dupixent, and obesity, the oral versus injectable tiering. Visit the Pro Hub read. Full article is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory. 2104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more.